Alright, now I'm working on my niche here. I'm going to be using some granite all the way around this border. And I decided not to use the Schluter's, this trim here, this aluminum trim. I was going to use it, but I decided not to. The reason why I was going to use it because I was a little off cut here. But then I put some grout in there the other day just to see what it looked like. And this grout matches so well with the porcelain tile that you can't really notice that there's even a little gap there. So I went and bought some Stadia diamond polishing pads here. This hooks up to any grinder. You can use a polisher for like a car. And what I'm gonna do is, you see this dull edge here? It's really dull. I'm gonna go and polish that up. And it's kind of like, you know, buffing out your car, where you're sanding the car, the clear coat, and making it shine. Except for you need to go a little more coarse than, you know, 1000 grit. You need to go all the way down to 50 or 100 as your starting point, and go all the way up to 3000. And that's what these pads are. And these pads are only like, I think I paid less than $40 for these. And they give you they give you 50 grit, 100 grit, 200 grit, 400 grit, 800, 15, and 3000. Okay. And they're wet or dry, but I'm going to run them probably wet. Sprinkle some water on there when I'm doing it, and you'll see. I'll take you along the process and show you how I'm going to do this, because I know a lot of people might be doing granite on the countertops or something, and you're going to have an edge, and you might need to polish that up. Alright, let me show you what comes in the kit here. Got this on Amazon. You get the part that hooks up to your polisher, and it's got a Velcro pad. And you got to make sure when you buy one of these that it fits, because these can be different sizes. Fits your polisher. And here's the pads. Three, six, seven, 8 of them, all different grits. So you start off on the 50. Isn't that interesting how it looks? It looks like, to me, it looks like marble rocks. What it looks like. But it's, I don't know what it's made out of. It's supposed to have some kind of diamond embedded in it, I guess. I don't know. But that's how it looks. That's 50 grit, 100 grit. So you're going up 50. There you're going up from 100 to 200, which is good. From 200 you're going double to 400, that's fine. And 400 you're going up double again to 800, which is also fine. And 800 you go up to 1500, that's fine. And then you got your 3000. So that's perfect. That's exactly what you need. You just don't want to bump up from like 200 to like 800. That'd be too much. Okay. You want to go up like double only. And that's what you get. I mean, it's less than 40 bucks. It's definitely worth it. Take this edge down. Put this on your grinder, polisher. I'm going to use my my Dewalt Buffer polisher for the car that I bought, because that's what I have. But you could probably hook this up onto a grinder as well. I have a grinder, but probably going to just use my polisher. And then yeah, and then you just fit these on the Velcro. And watch out, I've heard that these can go flying off at high speed, so wear some glasses when you're running these. Reason why probably these go shooting off is 'cause probably people don't read. It says right on the box, wet dry polishing pad maximum RPM is 3000 when you're doing it dry with no water. 4500 wet. Must be used with polishing equipment. Do not use with higher RPM grinders or other shaping equipment. So if your grinder goes way past 4500, you don't want to use this. Mine has an adjustable RPM, so that's fine. I can lower it. It says higher RPM usage may result into pads flying off. See, just what I was talking about. It may cause bodily injury or property damage. I've heard people had these flying off and hit their cars and dented their cars with them. Wear protective gloves for protective gear for eyes, nose, face, hands, and other body parts while dry or wet polishing. Dust from dry polishing may cause eye, skin, nose, throat so you might want to wear a respiratory mask as well. Alright, got the Dewalt Buffer. I use the DWP849X. It's a little bit of a pricey one, but I wanted something that would last. You could always buy a Harbor Freight cheapy buffer, and that would work too, and those are like 40 bucks. I believe this is a 5/8 thread, which works perfect on my Dewalt. This Dewalt only goes up to 3,500 RPMs, but the directions says you're not supposed to go over 45 wet, so 35 is more than enough. Okay. And then we'll start off. I'm going to start off with the 50 pad. You can do this wet or dry. I'm probably going to do it wet. I already did 50 grit. I'm going to go to 100. So as you can see, there is a shine to it. It's not the best that it can be, but it's not bad. A lot better than it was. What do you think? It's pretty good? Alright, so I went and flipped it over, and I went and did this edge on the other side. And then I'm just drying it off real quick so you can see if it's shiny. Alright, that's how it looks. So you can see it's a little dull in a couple spots, but it's not bad. I mean, it's black. It's gonna look. It's shiny, but it still has this. It has a little bit of a dull look to it, huh? Even though it's shiny. And this is granite, so it's one of the harder rocks that you can have. So it's still. I can still see a little bit of some scratches here. Maybe I'll go over it one more time. It looks a lot better than it did. This one didn't get hard. These two didn't. Alright, so it was not dull. It was shinier than before, a lot shinier, but it still had a little bit of a hazy look. So I tried some 3M Perfect It, and that helped bring out the shine a little bit better. Because this edge you're going to be seeing in the niche. So I wanted it as shiny as I can get it. So right there, I think we're good. It's got a nice reflection. Alright, so there's the factory edge, and there's the one that we polished up and used the diamond pads on that. Big difference. And there's another look of two pieces, one next to the factory edge and one that we polished up. And it's a huge difference. I wouldn't want this dull looking edge showing. And the reason why people use those little trims, Schluter trims is what they call them, is because there's, you know, they cover up your imperfect cuts, and most of the time your tile, like this porcelain tile, it's not, the color of the surface is not all the way through when you cut it, and even when you don't cut it, the factory edge is not all the way through on the sides either. So when you have that, you got this funky edge, and nobody wants to see that. And so that's why I'm using the granite, or you could use marble. If you do it on the inside, you don't need a Schluter because you could just buff that edge all the way around. So yeah, definitely worth getting those polishing pads. Alright, so I changed my mind again. I'm going with a marble base, and you can see I notched out a little corner edge there that sticks out. Just think it gives it a little bit of a custom look. And then I'll be using my granite on the top, okay, and on the sides. And the reason why I don't want the granite on the bottom is granite seems to tend to leave watermarks, especially black. So that's why I'm going to use the marble at the bottom, especially when you have soap and stuff in bottles of shampoo and stuff sitting on top of that. It'll leave little rings on the granite. Alright, my niche just barely fits the shampoo, the conditioner, and we're pretending this is the soap. Okay. And by giving it an inch overlap, that gives you just a little bit more that you could add. Like, see how these barely fit? This can sit on the edge. Now if I was to cut this flush, that wouldn't be able to sit there. So perfect. Alright, so I'm gonna go and polish the edges on these. Alright, got my niche installed. My niche installed. Niche or niche, whatever you want to call it. What I did was I got this granite in, and I had polished the edges, so when it's all done, it looks professional. Doesn't need a Schluter trim because you polished all your edges. Just gotta wait for this to dry, and then I'll put a little bit of grout in those 4 little edges, and then I'll be done. Just wanted to show you guys how it looks almost at the end here. Alright, final step here. As you can see, I did use some blue tape, and that's just because the grout I'm using is a pain in the butt. It's very sticky and it dries quick. That way I don't have to do a lot of cleaning. So anyways, I'm gonna go and wipe this down with a sponge. And I think that's pretty good, and I'm gonna take the tape off while it's still wet so it doesn't dry. And there we have it. Pretty clean. Alright, that's the end of the video, guys. That's the niche, or niche, all finished up. Came up pretty nice. Nice marble, granite. The nice angle down, you can see the angle. Your water gets in there, it's going to be no problem to come off. Then I'll wait for a day or two to let that dry completely, and then I'll go over it and seal all that with the sealer, and then I'll be done with this whole project. I'll put the glass on later once I get the windows done, but that's it for this video. Take care, and God bless everyone.